Got it. What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, August 5th, 2018. One thing is true. I need to work on my acting skills. I promise I will work on that. But it is true. I'm not a prodigy of predictions, and nor do I know any YouTubers out there that are. Over here on this channel, what we do is we take historical data points, we take technical analysis indicators, we look on the upside, the downside, we look at all possibilities, and then we make our investment decision. We kind of try and take the best approach. We utilize wisdom in the data that we have. That's all we do. I'm not here to make predictions. I want to throw that out there for you at the beginning of this video. Let's jump into Bitcoin. Let's look at what's going on with Bitcoin. Let's look at some historical data points and see what we can anticipate next. So I'll jump into a tweet I posted, I guess late last night, early this morning. I said, I'll be extremely surprised if we don't get at least a 15% bounce in the coming days off this Fibonacci channel we've been tracking. And I can open that picture, and there's the Fibonacci channel right there. That's 618 at the top to the 786 at the bottom. And we've been talking about it. It's on the daily chart, and that's one of those indicators that we look at, right? Because if you look historically at Bitcoin, many times, Bitcoin has retraced down to that area, that channel, that green channel you see throughout these 618 to 786 indicators. And I did a video on this the other day, and it's bounced off of those areas. So why not anticipate something like that possibly happening now? That's the best, that's the closest we can get at possibly even coming close to what you might think of as a prediction. So with that being said, I do want to zoom in on just one of those times, right? There's a bunch of them throughout the years, and we have some on the screen right now, but here's one of those times. This was last August. And then we have another one. I think this is the one I wanted to look at, which was last June into, I guess, the July area. So you see Bitcoin kind of doing its thing, and then you see this massive pullback. And this pullback in particular, if you want to measure to the top of that wick down to that bottom, and you see that bounce there, that's a 30% retracement back down. Who knows? Maybe right here, it was actually, that's May 25th, 2017. Maybe people were thinking Bitcoin's over, right? It's a 30% downtrend in a matter of 3 days. People are thinking we're tanking and going to see new lows. And just like that, we bounced off that 786 area and in that channel and bounced to see, a newer higher high in Bitcoin. Same thing happened, shortly after that. And you can see another channel where we had a nice uptrend and then a pullback. How big was that pullback? That pullback down to that same channel, 35%, almost 40%, wicking down 40%. So it happens over and over again. So when it hits that channel, you see that typically in a bull market especially, it breaks previous highs, right? It breaks those previous swing highs, and it does it pretty aggressively. And Bitcoin, you can look at last year's chart and you can see that happen. So right now we have to be a little bit more conservative since we've been in a downtrend. So we can still definitely look out for this this Fibonacci, right? And there's the channel right there on the daily on Bitcoin. We can definitely look out for support here, first off. But what kind of bounce are we going to get is the question. So let's first just look at the downside from this swing high. What would the 786 channel look like? That's 22%, right? So in the best case scenario, if we bounce off of this channel and we bounce above that 786 for support, right? Best case scenario is it's going to basically just create a new higher low on the daily chart. And it's just going to look something like this. It could be like right in this area, higher low and a bounce. And you see this bottom trend line going up, and that's a nice show of support in a continued uptrend in the market. So this could be a good thing for Bitcoin, this pullback that we're at right now, around 15% down in the last week or so. The sentiment out there is getting more and more negative, so it's one thing to keep in mind. So best case scenario, we bounce up, and then we actually break this previous swing high at around $8,500. Another scenario is what I tweeted yesterday. Say we bounce like right off of this area. What I said was I'd be surprised if we don't at least see a 15%. And the reason I said that is because right around that 15% area, you'll see that 200 EMA on the daily. A 15% bounce off of this area over the next few days, next week, whatever, wouldn't be that bullish if we see resistance, because that's going to basically illustrate the fact that the bulls have lost some power here, and we might actually be kind of cruising back down. This might be that scenario where it's just a lower high on the zoomed out trend of Bitcoin. So if we don't break this previous swing high, it's not going to be too good of a scenario if we see resistance. So if we see a 15% gain, right, like to right around there, I say that's realistic, and I'd be surprised if we don't, even in a bearish scenario, just because we are at this channel, the 786 to the 618, right, this channel right here. So with all of that being said, there's one more scenario to look out for. So we have a really bullish scenario where we break this previous swing high. We have a less bullish, kind of bearish, where we actually see resistance here, and we see this downward pressure in Bitcoin, and the bears really stepping in. And then we have an even worse case scenario, which is simply put the channel that we have here, the 618 to 786. And I'm actually going to draw that right now. I should have probably done it at the beginning of the video, but this is where we get this Fibonacci from. So that previous low to the swing high, and there you have right there. And I'm sorry, I took the wrong low. So it's right there. So here's the channel, the 618 at the top to the 786 right there at the bottom. So the worst case scenario, and this thing that we should be prepared for, we should anticipate, is what's happened even in this previous bull markets, these 40% pullbacks, right? What would a 40% pullback from this previous swing high look like? Well, we can take our price range, we can take top of that swing high, and we can take it down 40%. So 40%, first off, brings us to around a $5,000 Bitcoin. Second off, 40% downtrend brings us below this previous low, so we're making new lows. So very bearish scenario. But lastly, what I want to say is if we do retrace to that area, and really lastly, you can see how oversold we already are on the daily. That's going to be incredibly overextended, oversold. And at a $5,000 Bitcoin right now, which is hard to imagine, but not really, you can expect probably a pretty aggressive bounce off of that area. So there's basically three things to anticipate right now. And the main question for you is, are you comfortable with your portfolio? If you sit back and you look at these three scenarios, right? A bullish scenario, we break these previous swing highs, this uptrend continues, the market's looking good, maybe ETFs get approved and the market's looking even better, people are happy, and we're going up. Are you ready for that, right? Number two is kind of a more level type of momentum play, right? Which is we just kind of come up a little bit, we get 15% gains or so, 10% gains, and then we kind of just start consolidating back down. Are you ready for that, right? Because there's an emotional aspect tied to that as well. And then lastly, are you ready for us to break this channel and just see new lows? And maybe even some capitulation. Are you ready for that? Are you comfortable with your portfolio? That's why we do these videos. And that's kind of why I was making fun a little bit of some of the people out there that think that we do these videos to predict the future. I certainly don't. Maybe there are some technical analysis YouTubers that do, but I don't. But those are my thoughts right now on Bitcoin. Sunday, I wanted to do a nice quick video for you to get you ready for the week. I'm trying to prepare for the week mentally. Obviously, nobody knows what's going to happen yet or next, but this is certainly a crazy little downtrend we're in right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 red previous candles, and we're in the middle, kind of in the middle of a possible red, possible green. It's like very much back and forth. So time will tell. We will see. Let me know your thoughts below. Are you bullish on Bitcoin right now? Are you bearish? Are you waiting for new lows? Are you waiting for $5,000? I'm curious to see what you think. As always, I truly am grateful and I appreciate you coming by the channel. I will see you in the next video, and God bless.